Hey there, Knicks fans. How you doing? It's your boy, Jonathan Macri, with you for another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast as we continue our journey through the history of the NBA draft. We got the three big ones out of the way so far in the summer, and boy, oh boy, have they been some fun. This is going to be the first draft where I think it has a chance to get a little wild and crazy because, man, there are some names in this baby. And talk about beauty being in the eye of the beholder. Oh, goodness. Before we get to the fourth pick draft, continue our series, I, of course, will introduce my esteemed co-hosts as we crawl our way to September. Jeremy Cohen, how have you been doing in the dog days, my friend?
Staying inside. Staying inside for most of it because this heat has been terrible, but it's getting better. It's getting better all the time.
That has to be the name of the song. It's getting better all the time. Beatles song.
Yeah.
You know, we just bought my mom's husband a giant Paul McCartney book. I think it's called like Lyrics or something. I don't know if you're familiar with this thing, but he was like a big Beatles fan, and it's a giant like set of books. But I don't know why I just thought of that. But yeah, shout out to the Beatles. Anybody out there who's a Beatles fan listening? Mm-hmm. We love the Beatles too.
Yeah.
Andrew, you Beatles fan?
Did you just shout out the Beatles?
I think I did.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, they're no Gunna, but they're good.
Little known group, the Beatles.
Don't sleep on the Beatles.
No, don't sleep on the Beatles, everybody.
We've done 3 of these.
Yes.
We're going to do some more because there's not any actual basketball analysis to be done on the horizon. Andrew, you've been the one reading the rules for these. By now people should probably know, but do you want to do a quick recap?
Sure. So for those who don't know what a pick draft is, what we're doing is we're marching through NBA history, specifically the NBA draft history. And we are using all the players taken in a specific pick in the NBA draft and putting together a competent team of the best 5 available starters, but it's all NBA rules. So a guard, 2 forwards, a center, 2 forwards, 2 guards, and then 2 bench players that can't be the same. We will determine the draft order in just a little bit. And then you guys vote on it when we put up a poll on twitter.com later this week. That's the name of the game. We've done the first pick, the second pick, and the third pick so far. This is the fourth pick in the NBA draft. I talked a lot in our last episode, if you didn't listen, or watch or listen, I should say, that this was the most talent that we've seen so far, the third pick in the draft. So much talent that a guy like Jerry Stackhouse or Baron Davis didn't even get drafted. And I don't think we're going to have that problem with the fourth pick in the NBA draft.
Listen, there's talent here. And
there were all-stars not taken, is my point.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're already getting interesting here. No, my point is that in our first 3 drafts, the top end talent, especially the last one where we were in the 3rd and 4th round and we were, taking top 75 all timers. Shout out to Nate Thurman, Paul Harrison. But no, the point is that the top end talent went pretty deep. And here with the 4th pick draft, like there is some top end talent, but even the top end talent that's available in this draft is not like on par with what you might expect in a normal one of these things, or certainly what we've done so far. I'll say that.
You hinted at it. The beauty in the eye of the beholder thing is really fascinating for this. As we start all of these pick drafts, I have some trivia for these 2 fine gentlemen, all about the number 4 pick, which features 8 Hall of Famers, 4 NBA MVPs. Can you name the 4?
The 4 MVPs who were the 4th pick?
Yes. They're all one-time MVP winners.
Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook is 1.
Dave Cowens.
Dave Cowens is 2. How do you guys shoot free throws? Do you shoot them underhand or you shoot them overhand?
Wait a minute.
But this player clearly did underhand.
Rick Barry is 3.
Wait, hold on. You're saying MVP?
Yeah, he won the MVP, right?
Rick Barry did not win an MVP.
Oh, maybe that's
the finals MVP.
All right, it's only 3 MVPs. The 4th pick just got worse, everybody. The other one is Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy?
Bob Cousy win an MVP?
Did I really just miss? No, yes, Bob Cousy definitely won an MVP.
Bob Cousy might have won an MVP. I guess Bob Cousy did.
56, 57 MVP.
Good job by you.
Also, that's All-Star Game MVP. Excuse me. Okay, so I was wrong. He won the All-Star Game MVP and the Finals MVP. Rick Barry did, but did not win the NBA.
Bob Cousy did win the NBA MVP.
Yes, correct. I know all the MVPs up to 80, and then before that is when I'm a little hazy. Okay, there were 5 Tar Heels taken with the 4th pick in the NBA draft. Can you name the 5 Tar Heels? I will give you one of them, unless, John, you can tell me who the one from the 50s is. I figured if you could get it. No, Paul Brennan, 1958, 4th pick.
Wasn't getting that one.
Okay. Then the rest.
I know one of them.
2 from the 80s, 2 from the 90s.
I forget who between Jameson and Carter was the 4th.
Anton Jameson was
there you go.
The 4th pick.
Because I know they were traded for each other.
1998 NBA draft.
Okay.
2 in the 80s, 1 in the 90s. The one in the 90s is 1995. The one in the 80s is 81 and 84.
Oh my God, I was going to say Jerry Stackhouse. No, Rasheed Wallace.
Rasheed Wallace is one of them. Jeremy, anything?
I forgot Rasheed Wallace was a Tar Heel until John said he was a Tar Heel.
There you go.
Yep.
Played with Michael Jordan.
In the 80s.
Yes.
He was drafted in the 80s. Did he play with Michael Jordan in the 80s?
Yes. Played with Michael Jordan at North Carolina.
Oh, okay. So that makes it clear. Sam Perkins?
Sam Perkins. That's the one you're hitting at. And then Al Wood is the 1981 4th pick in the draft that went to
Al
Carolina.
Wood.
Yeah. That's a deep cut right there.
I wonder if he knows Dick Groat.
Listen, they're 50 years apart, but potentially. And then this is how low of a level. It's a little diminishing to say that this is not an accomplishment, but I couldn't go to trips to the finals for like a legitimate trivia because it's kind of obvious what teams have made it to the finals. So since 1990, there have been 8 players to make the All-Star team with any team that they got traded to or whatever, but there are only 8 All-Stars from 1990 that were taken with the 4th pick in the NBA draft.
So since 1990, 8 All-Stars taken with the 4th pick.
Yes.
I got
3. We're doing honor system here. I'm not looking at my list.
So Jeremy, you said you have 3 of them.
Yep.
Who?
Russ
Bosch, is one of them. Chris Bosh is another.
Starbury.
Yes. Stephon Marbury, Chris Bosh, and Russell Westbrook are 3 of them.
So Jameson's another one because he made an All-Star team.
That's correct. Apologies. There are 9 now. Anton Jameson now gets added to the list.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I just cheated because I just glanced at my page and it pops right off there.
So who?
Kristaps
Porzingis is another. Yeah. Okay. There's a couple others that, I mean, we've said one of them already in the last round. In the last round of trivia, the Tar Heel.
The other, what other Tar Heel? What do we say?
Rasheed Wallace.
Oh, Sheed. Yeah. Sheed was a 2-time All-Star?
Yes, he was.
2-time All-Star. Okay.
Right, so you said Rasheed Wallace, Stephon Marbury, Anton Jameson, Chris Bosh, Russell Westbrook, and Kristaps Porzingis. There are 3 more All-Stars taken with the 4th pick.
Since 1980.
Since 1990.
Since 1990, excuse me.
Yes.
All right. I'm cheating and looking at my list. Monster Mash made an All-Star team.
Jamal Mashburn. Well done, John.
Glenn Rice made an All-Star team.
Glenn Rice was taken in 1989.
Oh my God, the most obvious one. Chris Paul.
Yeah. Chris Paul was taken. There you go.
Yeah. And it's a shame that we're not going back to the 80s because the X-Men also made one All-Star team.
Mike Conley.
Oh,
2007.
Conley.
There you go.
Yeah. That was good. Amazing. Lamar Odom never made one All-Star team.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's you get a hint of what the talent pool is right now. This should be a fascinating draft. And you said something that the number 1 pick isn't obvious, John. You said
I don't think it's obvious.
Huh. It is in the eye beholder because I think it is, but I guess we'll find out in a second.
I think I think it's crazy if you think the number one pick is obvious.
Well, then maybe I'm a little crazy, John. Okay. Been called worse, believe me. Okay. So the way we decide the draft order on these things is with the high educated technological system of high card draw. I have a deck of cards in my hand that I'm going to shuffle right now. Hopefully you heard that on the mic. And we will do hard card draw. This time we'll go in age order from oldest to youngest. So John, your card is a 3.
Fuck everything. Actually, you know what? On this draft, actually, that's great.
This draft, maybe not. Okay.
Forget I said anything.
I'll cut the deck again. See if that works. Okay, everybody. All right, Andrew. My card is a 3.
So what do we do?
Right, John and I will
we have to redo.
Take a high card face later.
Off.
Yeah. And then Jeremy, your card, I'll cut it one more time, is a queen. I think Jeremy's going to get the 1 pick.
I think so.
Well, okay. Jeremy automatically gets the 1 pick. Now this is between me and John to decide who gets a 2 or the 3. So John, your card is, that's backwards. Get rid of the 3s. Okay. John, your card is a 9. And then my card is a 9. All right. I'll do it over again.
Okay.
All right. 9 of diamonds, 9 of hearts. This usually is a system that works.
Third time's the charm.
John, your card is a 10.
No.
Okay. Andrew, your card is a 6. I have the 3.
Okay.
There we go. Jeremy goes first. John goes second. I go last. We go in snake order. So I will have back-to-back picks. Jeremy will have back-to-back picks. Jeremy, first pick in the 4th pick draft goes to you, and it is.
I already know who he's taking.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Ooh.
I don't think you do.
I do.
Okay, sure.
I think I do, but
I'll admit if I'm wrong if you take a guy that it's not the guy that I think.
All right. 75th anniversary team player, 12-time All-Star, multiple All-NBA. Yeah, it's Rick Barry.
Ooh.
Wow.
I am shocked. Wow, I'm shocked.
Told you we weren't going to get this one. Yeah, Hall of Famer, 12-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 4-time All-NBA. Wait, I guess this is All-ABA. There it is.
So a couple things. Can I? Because Rick Barry is someone who's near and dear to my heart in terms of NBA history because I spent a lot of time studying this guy. A couple of things about Rick Barry. One, Rick Barry was a dick, a notorious asshole.
Yeah.
And back then,
real dick throat. Yes.
And back then, the NBA media voted on, and so by the way, media didn't like him and players didn't like him. So like he wasn't doing well in terms of like MVP voting. He wasn't doing well in terms of like All NBA. Like so, his accolades are not there. But in terms of like accomplishments, like Rick Barry was the best player on an NBA championship team, like not in the 50s or 60s. He was the best player on an NBA championship team in the 70s. Yeah, I will lean on people who did a ton of research on this. ESPN and The Athletic put together their top 75 list. They ranked the players on those lists. On the Athletics list, Rick Barry was 27. On the ESPN's list, Rick Barry was 38. So like Rick Barry, I forget who I said this about on I think I said it about Dominique on the last podcast. I think Rick Barry, he has a real good argument for being the most underrated player in NBA history in terms of like what casual people think, because he's not put in like that tier of players, and he's fucking amazing. I was going to take him.
I figured.
Great job.
Thank you.
Well done. Wow. That was not the player I was thinking of. And John may have made a compelling case that this is a warranted.
I pulled a Boncaro. What can I tell you?
There you go. You led us astray for months, and then suddenly you take Rick Barry. John, your pick.
I mean, it's a great job by you. I think it's the right pick. I am going to leave multiple MVPs on the board here because I'm going to take the best player available. It's the guy that I think Andrew was intimating when he was saying he thinks there's an obvious pick. He's certainly respected universally by everybody in this generation. I hold him in probably slightly lower regard than consensus of people who have watched him over the course of his career. But I mean, he's Chris Paul. So what are you going to do? He's really good. His top finish in MVP, I believe, was second the year that The year the KG won in 2008. Did Chris Paul finish second that year? I'm gonna look it up. But
that's the Pelicans. Yeah, no, the one Kobe won in 2008.
There was the 4-way race between.
He was second in the 2007-2008 season.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, the Kobe year. Yeah.
Garnett didn't win that year?
No, Kobe won. Garnett won in 2004.
That's right. Garnett ended up finishing
the 1 seed.
Yeah, and then I think LeBron was the other one who was in the. But there were like 4 legit
those
MVP
4.
candidates. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I have to say about Chris Paul. Again, I'm not as big a Chris Paul guy as others, but I think when you think about point guards in the league since Magic Johnson, it's basically there's Magic, there's Isaiah, there's Steph, there's Chris Paul, and there's Jason Kidd. I think those are the 5.
You're missing one. Steve Nash.
See, I don't put.
Really?
I like Steve Nash, Gary Payton. They're in that next.
He won 2 MVPs though.
Yeah. I know he did. I know he did.
He was the 7 seconds or less Suns.
If we're going by you got to go by what the conversation about the guy is. Steve Nash is absolutely there, especially when we go to the talking about the older era where it's like, well, we can't judge from our perspective in the 2000s. We have to go by what the conversation and how they were regarded back then.
Yeah.
It works the same way in the 2000s. I remember both Nash MVPs and it was like, oh, duh, he went to the Suns and now they're 60 plus win teams.
He was a comet. He was a phenomenon, and it wasn't a phenomenon that just lasted those 2 years. It was a phenomenon that lasted closer to like 6 or 7 years, but okay. That I guess no, I'm not going to say that. I was going to make it like a distinction about like true like point guard, someone who can like really does control the game in the way that the classic point guards control it. But Nash kind of did that in his own way.
Yeah, I'm lost.
Also sounds like you're describing a superstar.
John, I said Chris Paul in his prime was a superstar.
How many times do you think that Steve Nash led the league in assists?
Probably 5 or 6.
5, exactly. Okay. How many times do you think Steve Nash averaged 10 assists a game?
5 or 6.
7.
Okay.
And 1 year he averaged 9.7.
I get that. And I think Steve Nash was a point guard in the way that Steph Curry is a point guard, in that his gravity and what he was able to do with the ball in his hands and the threat of his scoring. Now I fully understand Steve Nash. I don't think did Steve Nash ever average 20 points a game?
No, career high 18.8.
Yeah, I'm realizing you didn't add Steph to that list of the.
No, I had Steph.
Oh, you did. Okay,
I had Steph,
but then because Steve Nash be there too.
Yeah.
Well, he's 6th in my mind. It's like a clear 6th behind those top 5.
Chris Paul, Steph Curry,
Isaiah
Kidd.
Thomas, Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd.
I don't hate that, Jeremy. And Steve
Nash is 6th, but
my point is that's a tier. There's no then a drop off and then Steve Nash. He's part of the top 6.
I guess I feel like there's a good argument for Nash over Kidd, but it's not a slight to Kidd to do that. It's because that's how good.
But it's not a slight on any of these guys.
Of course not.
6 of the 40 greatest players of all time.
If you got 5 players and there's 6 of them, then someone's going to be left out. I hear you completely.
Yeah.
But I was just saying,
I shouldn't
we had to include more than 5. Then I feel like it kind of rounds out with Steve Nash in that grouping.
Yeah, but then I feel bad to Gary Payton. Gary Payton was badass.
He was. I think he wasn't the same 7. Tier as there's a drop off there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's okay. So maybe that's how we should do it. Those are the 7.
I was suggesting the 6 and then Payton 7th. Like you've got the 6 and then the next guy is Payton.
Okay. That's fine.
Look at us. Because look at us. Not that many interesting players in the 4th pick. We're debating point guards all time.
Most of whom were not drafted 4th overall.
No, they were not.
So Andrew, there are about a dozen ways that if you put together like the different combinations.
Do I have to take 2 players right now?
Just please take the guy that I don't want to take.
No, I'm actually trying to figure out a way not to, so that way you're stuck taking him.
You can't.
Why? Why can't you? I want to post a graphic on Twitter that has Russell Westbrook on your basketball team.
Well, so far, Jeremy took Kyrie, and didn't he win that?
Jeremy took Kyrie, and he won that.
Yeah.
you took Durant. You won that, and we don't know yet.
Yeah, but that's different.
You guys are still voting on the 3 pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Do what you're gonna do, Andrew.
So I don't know how defensible it is not to take Russ right now, but there's another point guard that JJ Redick hates that has gotten into a couple spats with. Would actually make more sense on John's team. He's like, when you are you talking about Bob Cousy? Yes.
So Bob Cousy, I think when you're talking about the that era of NBA basketball, like before, let's say, what do you want to say? Pre-70s, pre-late 60s? Let's say pre-late 60s. I think there's Mikan, who's like, he's the first guy. And then after Mikan, you got to just go to Cousy. Mm-hmm. And then after Cousy, you go to Russell. But like Cousy is the link, I think, from Mike in NBA history. And like there's other dudes, obviously, like I was talking up Bob Pettit. Like Bob Pettit is like right there too, I guess. Maybe Pettit would be right there with Cousy. But maybe those are the two. And then you get to Russell, and then you get to some of the other guys. But Cousy's right there, man.
Out of respect, I'll take Bob Cousy here.
That's what I pick.
Okay. So Bob Cousy is a basketball player that played for the Boston Celtics and one season for the Cincinnati Royals. Came back for one season in 1969-70. Retired in 1963, but still managed to win 6 NBA championships. 12-time All-NBA, the 1956-57 MVP, and on the 75th anniversary team. And if you ever are lucky enough to get stuck in a room with Christopher Mad Dog Russo, he will argue is a top 15 player of all time and yell into your face that he is, about how Bob Cousy is better at ball handling than Kyrie Irving.
I'll hear top 30 or 35. I'm not hearing top 15.
I don't think you have a choice whether or not to hear Christopher Mad Dog Russo, John.
Very, very fair.
And then, you know what? I'm going to stick with the respect route and go with a guy taken by the New York Knicks.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Well, no, he was drafted by the Knicks and traded. Okay. I'm going to take Dolph Schayes.
Whoa.
With my next pick. Okay.
Did I incept you before this episode?
I don't know, but a 12-time All-NBA.
I know Dolph Schayes, NYU.
1955 NBA. Wait, do you know? Like personally know him, or you said I know Dolph Schayes. I didn't know if you actually knew Dolph Schayes. Okay.
Perfect.
I know he died 7 years ago. I didn't know if you knew Dolph Schayes.
Bronx.
The Bronx. There you go.
Bronx's own, baby.
Man, the Knicks should have kept that guy.
You think?
Dolph Schayes, as I mentioned, an NBA champion, a 12-time All-NBA selection, 12-time All-Star, one of the greats from the era that we've been talking about, the 50s and 60s. And this is my drinking game. Got to go to win shares for a minute. Dolph Schayes, you know who's second in win shares for 4th pick overall, guys?
Dolph Schayes.
It's Dolph Schayes.
Top 6 MVP 4 times. Again, all in the 50s. Different game, different era.
Oh, that's not what you've been saying when you take guys from the 50s and 60s. No, this is the golden era where you had to really stand out above the other 60 players.
Schayes is in the Arizona group, where it's like a notch down from Cousy. He's not in Cousy's level in terms of all time respect. He did make the top 75 though.
Nope.
So
he did not.
You know,
the 1948 4th pick in the NBA draft.
No, I'm saying, but Schayes did make the top 75 all time.
Oh yeah, I'm saying he was also the 1948.
Yes, he was.
Pick in the draft, the second draft that is available here. All right, John, you have a pick.
I do. I don't really give a fuck what I'm supposed to do here. I'm taking Dave Buscher.
I knew it. I want this to keep going. I don't think Jeremy has as much of an issue, but I want this to keep going.
So I mean, look, I did. So in addition to, I said on the last episode that we did that if you go by resume, Pistol Pete was a guy who was one of like the top 5 players who, if you looked at their resume and the accolades and the stats and the numbers and things, he's like in the top 5 of like, why is this player in the top 75. He like didn't play long enough, and like there wasn't enough accolades and like whatever, only 4 all NBAs. David Buscher is in that category as well. He was never the best player on his team or the second best player on his team. He didn't score a ton of points. I think he made, I don't know, did he make a couple all NBA teams? Made one all NBA team.
Yeah.
And yet there was never an ounce of debate amongst anybody as to whether or not David Buscher was going to be named one of the top 75 players of all time. Just like there was never an ounce of debate as to whether David Buscher was going to be named one of the top 50 players of all time. And that's because David Buscher was, I obviously never saw him play defense, but they instituted the all defense team in whatever it was, the late 60s, made the all defense first team his first year. And he made it every year after that until the last year he played basketball. And then he retired at the age of, he retired early. He retired at 33. When he was still arguably at the top of his game. He averaged what was very close to a career high that year, 18 points, 10.7 rebounds. He just hung it up because I think he like a lot of guys on that team at that time could sense the direction that things were going. Not coincidentally, David Buscher hangs it up. The Knicks go into the shitter. He was as instrumental to what those Knicks teams did as anyone. He was selfless. He was a badass. And he won the Ewing lottery. So
yes, he did.
For all those reasons, very happy to take David Buscher.
You could have just said that. Won the Ewing lottery. That's why I'm taking David Buscher. I think people would have okayed it. Jeremy, You have 2 picks.
Yes, I do. The first one is going to go towards Mr. Chris Bosh.
Oh,
I had him on my hope he gets back to me list. That's a great pick, Jeremy.
Oh, thank you. Hall of Famer, 11-time All-Star. I think people don't fully appreciate how good he was in Toronto and the sacrifices that he then made to be the third player in Miami, the third star. They also don't win a title if not for a rebound that he collects and then kicks out to Ray Allen. So good on him. But it's unfortunate, obviously, that he wasn't able to play longer due to the blood clot scenario. But the Bostrich, he's got to be my guy.
His game would have aged so perfectly in today's 4-out NBA too. Like they never asked him to take threes because we were still transitioning into a more of a perimeter game in the early 2010s. But it started to he's said it on multiple interviews as he made his retirement tour that if we were around today and that little 18-footer that I love to take, I just have to take 6 feet back and I'm a couple feet back and I'm able to make a career out of it. That would have, it would have been really beneficial to him. And this is where I will give the Miami Heat credit, being able to rebuild what I don't want to say the rubble of that team was, because they still had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh when LeBron left. But Bosh has the blood clot issue the year that they were fighting it out with 3 other teams for the 3rd seed. And they end up losing in 7 to Toronto in 2016. And Bosh never plays a game. And there's a movement in Miami that if Bosh is healthy, we get to play LeBron in 2016 rebuilt. And that would have been, we could get to see if culture wins or if LeBron wins. Ugh. And it's a what if for them. They don't have a lot of what ifs in Miami.
That's a stupid fucking argument. For
it is, but they would have said, but their argument is that they matched up well against the Cavs. I think the playoffs are a different animal. I don't think
that series was not, that Toronto series was bad.
The Toronto series went 6 is their argument, that if they're going 7 with Toronto and Toronto then pushes Cleveland to 6, that they at least push the Cavs to 7. They would have liked to at least seen that play out. So
I'm good for them that they would have liked to see.
I think it's the way that I don't know if I still believe it, but I know I used to, that a lot of Knicks fans are like, I would have liked to see the Knicks in 2013 play the Heat because Indiana pushed them to 7. And the Knicks matched up well against the Heat all season.
You can do this with a different team every year. We would have loved to see the 97 Knicks play the Bulls, right?
Oh, that I actually believe that.
Yeah, but every year. So
yeah. Oh, John's lights went out. So you can't see this on the pod, but John's in the dark right now.
Keep talking.
Like
I'm
you're a hostage situation.
I'm going to try to rectify
do this every
this.
year. You are right. I just specific examples I'm using right now are the ones that are relevant to the conversation. Chris Bosh or the Knicks. Jeremy, you have another pick.
I do. It was a nice little game of chicken you guys are playing, but it has come to an end.
Okay.
I understand that he is radioactive right now, but this is an MVP, 9-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star MVP as well. I gotta go with prime Russell Westbrook.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't get
the whole sample.
Cool.
Fuck you.
So I'm going with Russell Westbrook.
You are taking Russell Westbrook, all of him.
That's
Yes.
fine. I'll take him. But that doesn't mean that what we've seen in the last year and what we're seeing right now is the most important part of him.
You get the White Castle and you get the shits that come afterwards. You don't just get the White Castle.
It's fine. It's more time for me to sit. Don't mind.
As the shit comes pouring out of your asshole.
Listen, I'm lactose intolerant. You think I'm not used to that game, buddy?
Oh God, we are at that point in the draft. John, you're up.
Am I? No. Aren't you? Am I up?
You
You're
just
up.
had 2 picks. You have another pick.
I forgot
One
it was
pick
me.
away.
That's-
We're 1 pick away, Jeremy.
That's a
There's
bad
no
job,
other
buddy.
player you could have, I think, justified taking.
No.
Well,
I had
no, there's no other you could have justified taking. There's another player you could have taken that I was looking at, but I was hoping we would put John in a corner, but it's the right pick.
No, because then it would have been 5 picks away, and I wasn't gonna, or 4
Right.
picks away. I wasn't gonna.
Yeah, fair. All right, John, you have a pick.
So I have a guard and a forward. And that's interesting because have any centers been taken?
No,
Technically, yes.
no. Rick Barry.
What centers? Hold on, let's get
Chris
this out of the way
Bosh.
now. What centers has been
Chris
taken?
Bosh is a forward.
Okay, if we're going by the game that we've been playing before, Chris Bosh was a center for
Hold on.
in Toronto. That's what he's listed as.
I think
He
I
can
have Chris
count
Bosh
as a
listed
center.
as a forward.
It's literally
Listen.
center and power forward on NBA stats.
I would
what
love
we've
to
been going by.
I would love to screw Jeremy over here. I think based on what we've done thus
No,
far,
you're right.
I think he could go that. So you're putting him as a center.
I'm putting him at whatever I want him to be. I know I have the option.
Well, no, you're putting him
No,
in the center for
no,
the sake
fuck
of the
that.
draft.
No, you
Yeah.
have to decide now.
Yeah,
What do you
have
want
to
decide
him
what
as?
he. Yes,
What do I
when you
have
pick
to?
them, you
No,
have to. Yeah.
Positionless basketball.
No,
Yeah,
we're saying
listen,
Both.
when you
Why do I
make
have to
the
slot
pick,
him into both?
when you make the pick, you have
Yes,
to say
you
what
can't-
is
Let me
what
ask
we're
you: when
saying.
you draft a player on draft night, do you have to say,
not
"Oh
the
yeah, they're
game,
starting
though.
at the 4, they're starting at the 5"?
That's not the game.
This
though.
is different.
game
You're
is
adding
when
rules,
you-
but you're
No,
this
this
is
is
the
the
rule.
rule.
Listen,
playing
we're
throughout.
letting you put Chris Bosh at center. Do you want to put him at center? Yes or no?
Let me look at the list and get back to you in a moment.
Then we
So
have
carry on with
a
your pick.
moment. He can't make his next pick without knowing if you don't have.
Yeah, I got to know whether
Take
I'm
a
I just,
center.
taking Eddie.
I just made Russ, and you didn't have an issue.
I got to
Because
know
he's a
whether I'm
guard.
taking Eddie Curry or not.
Cool. You know what? Make it easy. Going with the center.
Okay,
There you go.
So
It's
he's
the right
center.
decision.
There
Okay,
you go.
good job by you.
Thank you.
I'm also going with the center. Is he the last MVP available? I think he's the last MVP available.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if I would say he's one of the most forgotten MVPs in NBA history because he did it with the Celtics and like they are kind of a big deal. I will continue my trend of taking guys who played from the 70s. I'm not sure if Dave DeBuscher ever drove a cab though. This guy certainly did when he was taking some time off from basketball. He is 8-time All-Star. How many NBA championships did Dave Cowens won? I think he won 2 NBA championships, but yeah, 1972, 73 MVP. He's again, this is, I think, when people talk about wouldn't be the same in this era, but at the same time, like Dave Cowens was a guy who was just tough as nails and like he translated that effort, with enough skill onto the court and it made a difference. So yeah, Dave Cowens, that's my pick here.
I have nothing to add for Dave Cowens other than you're right that in the
You
list
drove a
of
cab?
MVPs, well, yeah, in the list of MVPs, he stands out as like, oh, Dave Cowens was the MVP. Okay.
Like Kareem was in the league
Mhm.
at the time and Dave Cowens won the MVP. That was the thing that happened.
Very much a Derrick Rose MVP. Not to diminish the Rose MVP season, but like LeBron and Kobe were in the league at the time.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, Dave Cowens, he won that MVP. He also, the next 3 years, finished 4th, 2nd, and 3rd. And the year before he won the MVP, he finished 7th. I understand the media voted on the award at that time. And so take that, appropriately, but it's not like this guy wasn't a schlub who was just like well-liked. Like he was one of the best players in the NBA for half a decade. And actually more than that.
So I'm also going to take a center. All the MVPs are off the board. So this is where you got to get a little, not too creative, but a little creative. A Hall of Famer, one of the better defensive players of all time, 6 times all defense, 4 times defensive player of the year.
Oh, wow. This is a little early.
Is it, John, for this draft? It's really that early to take the Kembe Mutombo, former Knicks?
Kind of is, because of the fact that we've both taken centers.
Right. And I'm saying I don't have many other centers to go from.
Do you think we're going to grab?
Yeah, but do you think one of us are like, oh, we got to get the Kembe to round out our bench?
Yes. Because I don't trust you guys not to screw me is my point.
Well, you just screwed yourself there, my friend.
Listen, okay. You're someone that didn't know the rules of the game until seconds ago. Anyway.
You know what?
Kembe Mutombo.
Hold on.
First pick. What?
In fairness to you.
Me, okay.
In fairness to you, Andrew Claudio, could we have really been able to screw you over? Actually, could you have put...
There's one other center I have written down on my cheat sheet. In fact, there's 2 I written down as jokes because the other one, they're both Knicks.
If you think about it, I would have actually been more screwed over if I hadn't said Chris Bosh as a center.
Yeah, that's why when you moved Bosh to center, it forced my hand. Good. That's my point, is like I have to take a center now because then I'm stuck taking Eddie Curry with my last pick.
Yeah,
okay.
But you didn't. Yeah.
Right, so I'm taking Mutombo now, who is a Hall of Fame center.
I don't doubt that, but I wouldn't have taken him later. I don't think John would have.
Poor
I am perfectly fine taking in a Hall of Famer with my next pick. I really am.
Okay.
It's also on brand. These drafts, I'm like the one who stumps for Ben Wallace. I was the one when we went through the top 75. Like, why isn't Dwight Howard on this list? Although many people were. But
so hold on. You took Dikembe and who else?
I haven't taken a second player.
Oh, you need to take a second player. Okay.
Arguing whether or not I should be allowed to take a second player or whether this player was good or not. I so far have taken, we should recap a little bit. I've so far taken, funny how this worked out. So we've all taken a center, a forward, and a guard as of right now. So it's actually pretty evenly matched up. So I can go a couple different directions here. And with
Dragon Bender. So.
With that direction, this is a very difficult portion of the draft.
Tyrese Thomas had a moment in the league. It's good.
Yay.
Exciting. Dunked it. Just put the ball in the basket.
I will go.
Got the LSU days too.
I will go with a player who I don't think, I'll go this way. I don't think he lived up to his potential. I think there was a Hall of Famer in this person. And
it's early for Kristaps.
But I'm also old enough to remember the difference maker he was. I'm not even just talking about on the 04 Pistons, which was a team that went to the conference finals a bunch of years. I'm talking about the 2000 Portland Trailblazers, where you could argue that team with Scottie Pippen and Arvydas Sabonis and all these other Hall of Famers, like he was their best player, like completely shell-shocked and deer in the headlights look as the Lakers were making that run. A very fun YouTube rewatch for any of you youngins that don't remember Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. Fast forward to 7 minutes left. The Blazers are up 75-60. And then it's a complete dam breaking. And there's these 2 free throws that Rasheed Wallace takes late in that's what I'm taking, Rasheed Wallace, that he takes late in the game with 4, maybe under 4 minutes left. And you want to talk about confidence that something's going to happen. You're never more confident that he's going to miss both of them and brick both of them more than that. It's very much John Starks. Sorry, John, to bring this up because I know you were there. And I know it was your birthday. John Starks I
wasn't in the Garden.
You weren't in the Garden? You were just, it was just your birthday? The Reggie Miller 8 points in however many seconds.
8.9 seconds.
An 8.9 seconds game. The John Starks missed free throws are very similar. So Rasheed Wallace, Dean Smith said it. Many of his coaches have said it. there's a Hall of Famer in this person's body, in this person's talent. He just doesn't want it. And he's said it, his interview on All the Smoke. He just like has issues with like the structure of basketball. He hated referees. He like led the league in technicals all the time. And like, he feels vindicated because like it came out, they were cheating. Yes, of course I'm vindicated. They didn't want us to win. They wanted the Lakers to make it all the time. I'm able to remember Prime Sheed, so I will take Rasheed Wallace with my next pick and put him at forward.
So top 5 talent for sure. Top 5 talent. He just, like you said it well. That's a good pick. That's a good pick there. That's who I would have taken.
Jeremy, you have a pick.
No, it's my turn.
John, you have a pick.
So I don't know about the order, but how many players have been taken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10 players that have been taken are the chalk 10. I don't think there's any disputing that. So now,
why do you hate Eddie Curry?
Oh man.
Also,
gosh.
by the way, I messed up on the trivia earlier. Dikembe Mutombo made an all-star team. So that is another.
Dikembe Mutombo made a lot of all-stars.
Right, but I didn't list him in the list of all-stars since 1990. He was a 1990 fourth pick.
What you meant to say was that was drafted after the
after
year
1990. See, John gets it. Also, really good Chappelle Show reference with Rasheed Wallace. For those who get it, if you know, you know.
I don't know.
Maybe a story for off air.
Sounds like it. Okay, I'm gonna do
Rasheed Wallace.
He would have been. I don't know how many players retired averaging 20 points and 8 assists for their career, but it's a short list, and he would have been on the list had he not finished his career in somewhat less than stellar fashion. Getting, oh my God, will I, as long as I live, there are a few games that I will remember the feeling, the sensation watching more than the opening night game of Mike D'Antoni's first game as New York Knicks head coach, in which Stephon Marbury did not get off the fucking bench the whole game and just sat there and seethed. And shortly thereafter, he was sent on his merry way, and then had a cup of coffee in Boston before he went on to, I guess, be like a Chinese Basketball League Hall of Famer. I don't know the specifics of it, but I understand he's obviously had a monumental impact in that country and there, and hopefully the voters will consider that experience in China when they're assessing my team, because I will take Brooklyn's own. And still, the day they traded for him is still the most excited I've ever been in my life as a Knicks fan. Stephon Marbury.
Man, I'll echo what John just said. When they got Starbury, I
was like, fucking book the parade route. Like, reserve it now just in case there's any astronauts or some shit.
Build
like,
a statue for Isaiah Thomas. He did it. We have a competent front office.
Oh, man.
They were like decent for like a month too. And then they traded Van Horn. And then it was like, all right, that's a sideways move for Tim Thomas.
They went from Latrell Sprewell to Keith Van Horn to Tim fucking Thomas to who gives a shit?
Yeah. To Eddie Curry, to Zach Randolph, to Jamal Crawford, to Steve Francis, to Jalen Rose, to Tracy McGrady.
Just stop. Just please stop. Make it stop.
Did either of you wear Starburys? Go to Stephen Barry's and wear. Okay.
Oh, so you guys, I think I had.
I'm glad. I had so many because shout out to Starbury. He wanted to make affordable basketball shoes for like people that can't afford the Jordans and the Nikes of the world. And there was a Stephen Barry's across the street from me when I got my first like full-time job. Man, a collection of Starburys is what I would call it. And it's funny. I was going through some old photos because Facebook has that memories option where you can see like what you were doing on this day. Photo of me and my buddies in front of Applebee's. And we're all wearing Starburys. And I just sent it to the group chat. It's like, remember when we were like making minimum wage and thought like, hey, I just got 6 pairs of shoes. What's up? You know, not terrible shoes either. You could hoop in them, which is, I guess, the point. Stephon Marbury, not a bad pick at all, John.
Man,
Jeremy, you have two.
Yeah.
John, what are you going to say?
No, I was going to say he was up until the last 2 years of his career. He was at 19.9 points, 7.9 assists. Oh, well. Anyway, Jeremy.
I felt like I broke my ankles all the time in Starburst.
In the Starburst? Really?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Maybe they're better for like casual wear.
Yeah.
You know?
But I loved them. The trim, the color scheme is great.
Yep.
All right. I got two picks, and I was thinking about Starbury, but I'm glad I don't have to take him just because I have Russ. Would have been, I mean, I know this isn't a real life team, but boy, that would have been a lot of
man. That's a fun group.
A lot of fighting over the ball, but I don't have to do that. So I'm actually going to go in a slightly different direction. And I'm going to go with a small forward who had a claim to fame for a few years. 2-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Star, won an NBA championship, famously traded for Alonzo Mourning.
This is the right pick.
Glenn Rice.
Yeah, this is the right pick. Man,
Talented
90s
player.
Glenn Rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really that All-Star game?
Yeah.
Did you win All-Star MVP?
Yes, 97 All-Star MVP.
It was like him or Jordan, because Jordan, I believe, had a very good All-Star game that game as well.
I second what John's saying. I remember prime Glenn Rice. One of the more popular jerseys because people loved that old school Charlotte Hornets look. I remember when he got traded to the Knicks thinking, whoa, we got Glenn Rice for Ewing, like for aging Patrick Ewing. Maybe this wasn't terrible. Then I watched the year 2001 version of Glenn Rice that we got and realized, oh no, I mean, this isn't the guy from the Hornets. This is the guy from the Lakers, they chose Devin George over.
That team was a clusterfuck up and down. That wasn't
Across
Glenn
the board,
Rice's
yes.
fault.
They were a playoff team without a point guard. You're 100% right. Like their best lineup was Sprewell playing point, which was too revolutionary for 2001.
Yeah, it was a bit of an issue.
Like, they starting Camby at center that year?
Camby was still there, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like Camby, Kurt Thomas. Camby,
they had talent.
LJ, Camby,
they
LJ. Yeah,
they had talent on that team, but it was it was a bit of a mess.
Yep. All right, Jeremy, you have another pick.
I feel like it gets pretty tricky from here on in. Not a lot of talent jumping off the page. So that being said, I'm going to solidify my backcourt a little bit and go with Mr. Mike Conley.
Mike Conley. That's
Conley.
I was staring
Conley doesn't
right
have a lot of accolades. I mean, considering how he was only named to the All-Star team very recently, but part of that grit and grind Memphis era, obviously fantastic defender. Shout out to him at one point having the largest contract in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember that. That was the summer of Chandler Parsons, right?
2016. Yeah. Salary cap year. So
was DeRozan that year too, Jeremy?
For
the
money?
larger contract, yeah, for money. I know he got like a similar contract.
No, he didn't. He didn't get a big contract that year.
Really? What am I thinking then?
No, because
there was a lot of money handed out that year because
Summer 2016 is
I don't think it was
the Joakim Noah year,
right? But he was drafted in 2009, and then he was probably re-signed to a 4 or 5 year deal. Can't remember which one.
4-year deal. It was like 4 for 40 something.
So
I do remember the conversation.
So then 16-17 was when he was a free agent.
Yeah, I do remember the conversations. DeMar DeRozan got how much? Yeah. Whether it was 16 or 17 or not is the question.
Or at least
I like this pick.
Agent. He was extended. Yeah. I think it's the right move here. It fills out my team nicely. I don't know if Conley and Russ are great in real life, but there is a very small chance they at least have the same team paying them the same salary next year. So we'll see about that. But yeah, Utah.
I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. When I wrote down my little cheat sheet at the beginning, I was like, are all of our starters going to be point guards for guards? And we're 5 in, and the first 5 that I've seen are gone. And now I don't know if there's a 6th one for me to choose from, but these are the 5 that I thought would be off the board when whoever had to take a second guard, which unfortunately is me, would eventually have to do it. So yeah,
I'm up, right?
Yeah, you're up.
All right,
now
so
John gets to screw me.
I was about to say you were worried about getting screwed.
Nah, here we go.
I'm going to screw you.
There you go, John.
I'm going to try my best. We'll see if I do it.
I will say we are eye of the beholder time though. So
this is
so like you screwed me here. It's not like, oh, how dare you take that player? It's just like, oh wow. So I have the other guy that's a lateral move from that,
Well, look, I mean, I have already 2 Knicks on my team. Might as well go 3 for 3. I'm going to take Ray Richardson.
There you go.
Who is a player that I think gets, unless you're a Knicks fan who's old enough to remember actually watching him, which none of us qualify for. He gets lost the time because I feel like Nick, other than Bernard King, Knicks who played in between the championship years and who played in like the Ewing years and beyond, kind of just get forgotten about. Like Bill Cartwright's like amazing rookie season kind of just gets like lost in the shuffle, and like all the years he had after that. And there's some other players during that era who were quite good. And Ray Richardson is, I think, arguably the best player between the championship years and the 90s glory days. He was, I think he was a player before his time. I mean, he was a big combo guard, 6'5". He talking about leading the league in steals, led the league in steals 3 times. Once with the Knicks and once with the Knicks, and then once in the season he was traded, and another season later after that. This man in the second year of his career averaged 3.2 steals per game, led the league in both steals and assists in a season in which he averaged also 15 points a game. He was an all defense guy a bunch of times. He was an all-star 4 times. One of those guys I wish I could have seen him play, because he seems like he was a real fun guy to watch. But had some issues with drugs, I believe. And as many guys during that time did. But yeah, it doesn't diminish his accolades and what he was able to do. So Ray Richardson.
Nothing to add, but Ray Richardson, good pick. Yeah. You did screw me a little bit, but I had other like best player available options that I thought you'd go. And I'll start there with my first pick and take Jamal Mashburn.
Ooh, good pick.
Jamal Mashburn. Listen, this is where I have to go off of what I watched and the Knicks Heat battles of the late 90s. I hated Jamal Mashburn.
Nasty.
I specifically remember his face when not the Allen Houston running jumper, the Clarence Weatherspoon on the Heat takes the game-winning shot and misses, and then Spree gets the rebound and calls timeout in Game 7 in 2000. And he's like, did that just happen? Did we draw up a play and it ended up with Clarence Weatherspoon taking the shot for the season? These are some comments about the refs after the game that I remember, and drinking all those tears. Having said that, I remember how much of a force he was becoming. There's also those first 3 Dallas years that were really great, and then his last 4 Hornet years that were great. And then he, like, again, this middle period in Miami where he kind of settled into a third best player role. Jamal Mashburn, only 1 all-star team, but also 1 all-NBA. So I'll go Jamal Mashburn here. But as my first bench player.
One of the stranger careers, because he played 10 years or 9 years, excuse me. And in his 10th year, made his first all-star team that year with the Hornets on one of those like funky Baron Davis led Hornets teams in their very early aughts. And then he injured his knee in the 2004 season, but his last season playing in the NBA, he averaged over 20 points a game. Like he was a 26 and 5 guy like a year before he retired. Like this is a dude who, you want to talk about a guy who would have done really well in the way the game is played today. Man, Monster Mash is a good. I like this pick a lot.
There's a player that I can't take him. Never mind. There's a player that might not get taken that might make the Hall of Fame one day. I'm looking at. No, one of you guys will take him. Never mind. One of you guys will take him.
You could take him now.
No, I can't. I can't take him. He's a forward.
You can take Dragan Bender. It's fine.
I could technically take a former center of the Knicks right now. Okay. So just to stall for time, going through my team.
The guy you're talking about is not going to make the Hall of Fame. He's not going to make the Hall of Fame.
You don't think he'll make the Hall of Fame?
Zero chance.
All right. Is that the Hall of Fame predictor evaluator that you're using? The basketball reference thing that says projects whether somebody will make the Hall of Fame one day.
No, I'm not, because I don't even need to look at it on the play. Could you just say the play you're talking about?
Antawn Jamison.
I don't care what that is. Antawn Jamison's never making the Hall of Fame because people watched him play. I know the standards for the basketball Hall of Fame are shit.
20,000 points.
Nobody's going to give a fuck.
I feel like the moment's also passed. Like if there was a time to do it, it was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now kind of just, there are going to be new faces every single year. And it's not that they can't do it. It's just like, it would feel like the moment's gone.
Can we put a lifetime bet on this, John?
Oh, I'll bet you anything you want.
A beer. That's all.
Fine.
Yeah. Well, your beer of choice. I'll get a root beer. You get one with alcohol. And just, if he makes it, I think the NBA's standards are like, oh, you played basketball. Welcome to the Hall of Fame.
No, because like the one people throw out for this is Mitch Richmond, right? Mitch Richmond was the second, third, fourth best shooting guard in the league.
Yeah.
For a decade, right? He made all NBA teams. Like he got knocked because he was stuck on the singular dog shit franchise in the league for that period, for most of that period of time. Before that, he was on a really fun and exciting Warriors team that, like, what if he had stayed there? You know, and what if he had gotten traded or left Sacramento before that? Antawn Jamison, like, was never that caliber of play. Like, he's not a Hall of Famer. But anyway, I digress.
I agree.
He might be my pick in the next round. I don't know. I agree 100% with what you're saying about Antawn Jamison. My thing is more about the NBA and the Hall of Fame and their standards, which I hope you're right. Completely agree. It's not the Baseball Hall of Fame, but it's not the Antawn Jamison.
Is that the Antawn Jamison Hall of Fame?
I think if Antawn Jamison had an opportunity for more international play, then he would have a better case. Like if he were on the 2000 Olympic team, then there's some, but he was never going to make it. And the 2004 team was such a wreck that, like, does he change the trajectory? Yeah, I don't think so.
Look, man, we're not the judge, jury, executioner here. Like, we're not the end all be all. Saying something that we're like this far into the draft and he hasn't even been considered, and we're talking about whether he will make the Hall of Fame.
I think he should. But this is my point. He should be considered in this draft. We are not talking about whether he should make the Hall of Fame because he is not in consideration.
I'm saying, like, we've gone through 6 forwards already and haven't even discussed him. You know,
they're better forwards.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
And you have 6 better forwards than a Hall of Famer is my thing.
But he's not a Hall of Famer. So there's not 6 better forwards.
Okay. I am agreeing with you. He's not. And to further the point that he's not a Hall of Famer, I'm agreeing with you too.
Yeah.
The fact that he's the 7th forward potentially off the board is saying something.
But like, you just took Jamal Mashburn. Like, I watched every year of Jamal Mashburn's career. I was kind of watching the sport in 92, 93, but like I watched almost all of Jamal Mashburn's career. I certainly watched all of Antawn Jamison's career. There was a difference between those two players. Accolades be damned. I
really think we're all agreeing. I think we're all in agreement here. I'm adding the point that the reason he can't be a Hall of Famer is because he would be the 7th player taken in his own position in our draft right now.
Okay.
That's all I was saying.
That is a good point. Good job by you.
Thank you. Thank you for all that extra time, because I
get very fired up about the concept that Antawn fucking Jamison should even be in this conversation. I'm sorry.
Listen, I agree with you. The Basketball Hall of Fame has been a little more lenient with.
They're a bunch of assholes.
So yes, all of them assholes. I wouldn't mind a vote though. I've stalled so long, I have no idea who I'm picking.
You got to the count of 10.
Okay.
Still talent on the board.
Yeah.
There's talent, but I can't take a forward. So it's a center or a guard. And the one I'm looking at is hilarious if I take him. Screw it. I'll take Kristaps.
Yeah. Wow. Look at you.
Guys, I do not. The other, whatever guard you stick me with, whatever, like it's fine. I will end up taking a guard with my last pick.
You know what?
Is, to me, one of the next best players available.
It is funny though that you're having him as a center though. He is. I'll give it to you. But the majority of his career, he has been a forward.
You know what?
He was a forward in New York.
A point there.
He was a forward in Washington, I believe. And for last season, I think they had Powell starting with him.
Yeah, it's funny.
So he had 2 years where he was a center, which is still counts.
No. You know what's funny? He should be a center, but he isn't. If you want to listen, I will leave it up to you two. If you want to call me on it, I'll take someone else.
No, that's fine. I was going to just say what I really respect about this pick is that I know we have a lot of young listeners who are impressionable, and you're teaching them a valuable lesson that winning isn't everything.
Don't be afraid to get the bag. Generational wealth.
Thank you, John. This whole thing is I got to be honest. I don't see like a clear one team's better than the other. I just know my team's third is my takeaway so far through the first through the draft so far.
No pressure on me.
This is one of the first drafts where getting the third pick was like, oh, so I'm going to finish in third. Okay. Because of the talent. Well, it's such a cluster after that.
You could have had other options there.
Don't blame the...
I honestly don't see the other path unless I was taking Starbury, but I wanted a center and I took 2.
Well, you took Bob Cousy and then you took Dolph Shays.
Yeah. Right. Like it was either...
I mean, I was
trying to also stick John with Westbrook, which is more entertaining for the draft.
I think there's an argument.
Westbrook is more like
instead of Dolph Shays. I think there's an argument.
Oh, not analytically.
Doesn't matter. It's also a different era.
Listen, I'm the one that
I know. I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying there's an argument for why Chris Bosh in the aughts and the 2010s is a better choice than Dolph Shays when he played in the 1950s.
And I'm saying based off of the numbers that I was going by, Chris Bosh was the second forward I wrote down, so I'm not saying it's that far off. I'm going off of vibes. Dolph Shays ahead of him. Matters. That's the other part. You have Bosh as a center. That might have been a bad job. I mean, not to think of putting him at center. All right. Anyway, we stalled enough. John, you have a pick.
Damn it! I was hoping you keep stalling for me.
Okay.
No, we're done.
See the slim pickings that we're up to in this draft. I just took Kristaps Porzingis.
They're not that slim.
So make a pick.
It. I'm leaning fully into pandering to the crowd here.
No.
He was only a Knick for 1 year, but man, was it a memorable year. Made an all-star team. 15-6 for his career. He was a fucking badass. I'll go the X-Man, Xavier McDaniel.
Wow. Okay. Note to self. Don't hope the Knicks get the 4th pick.
Damn.
All right. This is me?
Yeah, this is you.
It's you.
You have your last 2 picks, Jeremy.
Well, I'm going to go with Anton Jameson.
That's one. Yeah.
I feel like that's the way I have to go. The tricky part is now I have to pick between a guard and a center. Not a lot of options really on the board. This is, I think, where I get the benefit of you guys stalling for time. So why don't you pick someone to talk about? Because for your last 2 picks, we've talked.
So I'll talk. Yeah, sure. I'll talk about it. So you have to hold on. You have to take a guard or a center.
Yeah,
I have to take a guard or a center. Jeremy has to take a guard or a center.
No, you can only take a forward or a center.
I got it, by the way. But
no. Hold on. Who?
You put X-Man at forward, right?
Yeah, but that means I can't take any. I could take.
You can't take a guard. You could take a forward or a center because you took Chris Paul, Stephon Marbury, Michael Ray Richardson.
Okay, so Jeremy can't take what?
Jeremy can't take a forward. Can't take a forward.
I can take a
because he just
I can't take a forward either. So the forwards are off the board officially.
Sorry, what was Jeremy's pick that he made just
Jameson.
now?
Anton Jameson.
Okay, so you took
last
Jameson.
Forward taken.
Perfect. So I'll filibuster for a minute for Jeremy.
I got it.
Guy.
I'm good.
We're good.
If you want to keep going, if you want to say it, you can.
Are you thinking of the same honorable mention forward that, to be honest, I would have considered taking over Anton Jameson as me, John?
Who do you have?
Lakers, the sixth man
No.
guy has more of a Kardashian fame than he does a basketball fame. But I also remember his prominence as like a glue guy on those Heat teams and then on those Laker teams. Lamar Odom.
Oh, no. I was
Okay, who you
not thinking
thinking of?
Lamar Odom. I was thinking of Jim Jackson, who's definitely before your time, Jeremy. Andrew,
I remember Jim Jackson.
You should remember Jim Jackson. Jim
Mhm.
Jackson never made an all-star team. I haven't sat down and actually done one of these in a while, but like top 5, top 10 players ever not to make an all-star team. Jim Jackson has to be in that conversation because this dude for a while before he started bouncing around and was like, an ancillary role player in the later portion of his career was really, really good. And he's someone that's just like, he was like, it was funny. That's why you're talking about Jamal Mashburn. And you're mentioning his first 3 years in Dallas, like the Triple J's,
Mhm.
Jim Jackson, Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn. Jim Jackson was like the main scorer of those three. His third year in the NBA, he averaged almost 26 points a game as a 24-year-old in Dallas. And he's a guy that I had a minute. I want to shout out because I definitely have looked at his name a few times in this draft. Anyway, Jeremy, you have a pick.
I was praying I could make him a shooting guard, by the way. But Jeremy, go ahead.
This player's career looks more like a ski slope than anything, but that's because it started out incredibly high and it was hard to match those expectations. He won the Rookie of the Year award in a stacked draft class.
That he did.
Oh my
Unfortunately,
God,
has
you're
not
really
been
taking
able-
him?
Yeah, because there's no other guards available. Yeah,
Slim pickings here. I'm going with the one and only Tyreek Evans.
Tyreek Evans. Yeah,
Oh man.
that's why I said like whatever guard you stick me with is whatever. Jeremy got the one with the hardware.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Well, there wasn't a center that was really good, and I felt weird taking Lashawn Livingston because the injury.
That's
and-
probably gonna be the injury. Jeez.
yes.
That
we
injury-
don't have to visualize it.
I'm not going to visualize it. If anybody has the stomach for it, go YouTube it. The Sean Livingston injury was like one of the first, like everybody that has a smartphone saw it because we were all texting each other an internet link to it. I don't know if it was a YouTube link or if Twitter was even like I remember getting a text on my BlackBerry with a video link to, oh my God, it's Sean Livingston. And it was like one of the grossest things I've ever seen. Yeah. If you have a stomach for it, Google it.
All right.
All right. Jeremy's team is complete. John, you can only take a center or a forward.
So there's one guy on the board who I know you've seen his name a bunch, Andrew, because I know how you do the research for this.
Mm-hmm.
More win shares than Rasheed Wallace.
Yep.
I'm talking about Sam Perkins.
Yep.
He made an all rookie team, never made an all-star team. He was never anything more than a role player, but my goodness was Sam Perkins. Talk about Dallas, right? My goodness was Sam Perkins, a really good role player. Most people, I think, who are around my age probably remember him mostly for the Seattle, and then the very tail end was Indiana. But like, again, those Indiana series when he was in his late 30s, he was still like somewhat of a contributing factor to those teams that would, battle the Knicks a couple of those years and battled like the Bulls and whatever else. Actually, no, sorry, he got there after their battles with the Bulls. It was 98, 99. He was in that series against the Knicks. But he was even, a contributing player then, and that's not even taking into account his time in Dallas. I'm not taking Perkins, though. I'm going a different direction. Jeremy, you just went Rookie of the Year. What year? 2000 what?
I knew you were going to do this.
2009?
I knew you were going to do this. You're taking the current one.
Where did I have him on my trade value?
Very high in your top 20, which people can find. Well, people will have listened to this by then. Yes, you had him in your top 20.
I had him in the mid-teens, right?
Yes.
So I'm going
you
Scotty
had
Barnes.
you had Scotty Barnes 17, one spot after Kevin Durant, one spot before Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. So I
Scotty
think Scotty Barnes is really good.
Okay, so I have one pick left, and it has to be a guard.
Oh yeah, that's right. You couldn't even take Perkins.
Right. I was fine with you going that as long as you wanted on that. The couple players I'm looking at right now are Byron Scott a contributor to multiple Lakers teams. I didn't even realize this has a 20 point a game season.
Not bad.
A starter.
That's actually pretty. That's
my
good.
thing is like this is where the binge I did of the God bless HBO and that show. My binge through the 80s Lakers was like a little more enlightening as to it's a little more cinematic as to the Lakers winning that game 6 in Philly where Kareem was hurt and then Magic had 41, but like Jamal Wilkes had 37. You then go through the rest of the 80s and these other people that pop their heads in, especially the Lakers and the Celtics rivalry. One prominent name is Byron Scott. And I'm sure you remember this, John. And you might actually too, Jeremy, as far as looking back to the 90s, hit one of the more potentially devastating shots in Knicks history. Because if game 5, the Ewing travel not called in 95.
Oh,
so
that wasn't a travel. That wasn't a travel.
Saying, but like that was the conversation around it. I also don't think it was a travel. Ewing even said in his post game, I thought I was Michael Jordan, like was playing along with the joke. So for those who don't know, Knicks are tied with the Pacers. They're down 3-1 in the series. It's 92-92. This is 4 games after the Reggie Miller 8-shot, 8 points in 8.7 seconds game. The Knicks are down 3-1. They're home in the Garden. It's 92-92. And it's 94-92. Excuse me. The Knicks are winning. And Byron Scott hits a 3 with 5 seconds left. We'd be talking about Byron Scott the way we talk about Charles Smith. It's like Charles Smith. Oh, that's devastating.
Andrew, I've cried tears of happiness twice in my life.
Ewing making that. So Ewing then, after it's 95-96, comes down and hits a shot to give the Knicks the lead. And then the Knicks won.
That was the first time. And then on my wedding day.
Wow. You didn't cry in 99?
No, there was something about, I was young enough when Ewing hit that shot that I was also like convinced, because at the same, you got to remember very briefly, I really came into the sport in 93, 94. So I thought it was like our destiny to make the finals every year, because the one year I'd really followed the team, they made the finals. And then if they lose that game, they don't make the finals. So when they won the game, I was like awash with emotion, and I was like 12 years old. So, yeah.
So, wow. So the year I keep pointing to of that last year was the Julius Randle We Here year. That like got people into basketball. You got a trip to the finals as your We Here year. Yeah, what you're saying. Okay.
Basically. Yeah.
I'll go Byron Scott here. The more I talk myself into it.
It's all right decision.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember even who I was considering with. Oh, Tyreek Evans was the other name I was considering. I had to double check if Scotty Barnes could be qualified as a guard. He's actually positional estimate, a power forward in Basketball Reference. Shout out to the Raptors for fudging the numbers there. Byron Scott with my last pick.
So best players not taken: Chuck Person,
Lamar Odom,
Jim Jackson, Lamar Odom
Lashawn
are
Livingston.
The top 3 in some order. Lashawn Livingston deserves a mention. Also, there's a guy, I don't know. I'm just going to be very truthful. I don't know anything about this player, but the 1975-76 NBA Rookie of the Year, Alvin Adams, made an all-star team as a rookie center with the Suns, averaged 19 points and 9 rebounds. 1975-76 season. Had like a bunch of good years in Phoenix. He spent his entire career in Phoenix, actually. And a lot of years were good. I don't know anything about this player, but feels like he deserves mention.
Tristan Thompson made an all-bag team.
That he did.
Aaron Gordon, slam dunk champ. No, slam dunk runner-up twice. Excuse me.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon deserves a mention. I'm looking at Alvin Adams averaged 23, 10, and 5 in the 96 or 76 finals as a rookie. Damn. Imagine like if you had a chance to get some Alvin Adams stock in 1976.
Do I have to imagine?
You know what? Screw all of you.
I think, listen, there's a guy named Lou Hudson. I don't know if you know anything about him, John. Played for the St. Louis Hawks.
Well, I was about to say
Hall of Famer. Yeah. Apologies that I thought about him, but just I did not pull the trigger on that. The only other name I was looking at, you hit it with potentially going Scotty Barnes. The only other name I was looking at, you said was Lashawn Livingston. Similar to Byron Scott, like he is present in the Warriors run through the middle of the 2000s. You know, the backup point guard.
None of us mentioned Jaren Jackson Jr.
I was going to, but I don't think that his career is long enough to warrant being picked over some of the other players.
I agree with that. It's interesting.
The injury factor too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting to me that like the fourth pick had a really nice run where there was this stretch of like 5-6 years where it was Livingston, who obviously I think we all agree would have been great had it not been for the injury. And then he went Livingston, Paul, Tyrese Thomas was a miss in like a weak draft, Mike Conley, Russell Westbrook, Tyreek Evans. Like that's a good, really good stretch there for fourth picks.
Do they year before Sean Livingston?
Oh, sorry.
Chris Bosh. Yeah.
So it's actually a 7-year stretch, really. And then you go Wesley Johnson, Tristan Thompson, Deion Waiters, Cody Zeller, still a contributing player in the NBA. We should note that. Aaron Gordon, okay. Kristaps, Dragan Bender, Josh Jackson, the aforementioned Jaren Jackson Jr., DeAndre Hunter, Patrick Williams, and then maybe we're back on the right track with Scotty Barnes and Keegan Murray. We'll see. All
right, John, read your team. Well, hold on. Let's go draft order this time. Jeremy, read your team.
Sure. So at the guard positions, you want to start with guard or should I start with center?
However you would.
Cool. Guards.
Yeah.
Mike Conley and Russell Westbrook. Forwards, Glenn Rice and Rick Barry. Center, Chris Bosh. And my two bench players are Antoine Jameson and Tyreek Evans.
John.
My guards are Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Love saying that. And Stephon Marbury. My center's MVP, Dave Cowens. My forwards are Dave DeBuscher and the X-Man, Xavier McDaniel. And off the bench, Michael Ray Richardson at guard and Scotty Barnes at forward center.
My team at guard is Bob Cousy and Byron Scott. At forward is Dolph Schayes and Rasheed Wallace. At center, Dikembe Mutombo. And then my bench players are Jamal Mashburn and the former unicorn himself, Kristaps Porzingis.
You put yourself together a squad there, Andrew.
Listen, we would kick ass in any decade, John, except the current one.
Well, we promised that this draft would be something, and it was indeed something.
I'm excited for the fifth pick. I got to be honest. The fifth pick draft has there might be some drop off in the beginning, but the fifth pick, at least, I don't think will be as dire right away as we ended up getting.
I think this is another one of those where there's like a little bit of up and down. Pick to pick. But Jeremy, Andrew, anything before we go?
No. Hope you enjoyed your vacation, John.
Yeah. I'm proud of my team. I know it'll win.
Well, I love the final stump. I'm going to stump for my cause.
Listen, that's what you did in the last one. So I'm going to do the same for this one.
I love stumping. I'm Mr. Stump.
Don't worry, I won't stump.
Andrew, please.
I'm Mayor Bloomberg in the primaries right now.
Bob. I was going to get Bob Cousy, Mayor Bloomberg joke. They don't look too terribly dissimilar.
You know what?
Bloomberg, I'm sure, remembers Bob Cousy very well.
That's the thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Good time, guys. Thank you everybody out there for checking out another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. We will be back next week with another one of these bad boys. And then, hey, before you know it, training camp, not that far away. It really isn't, I promise. Until then, or until the next episode, I should say, enjoy your week and we will talk to you soon. Peace out.